Hey, how you doing? Do you often say shit like, I don't think I'm good enough? I don't think my skills are on par with everybody else's. If so, tune into this reading. But before we go into the reading, click the link in my bio to be the best ally you can be. I appreciate that. But, yeah, if you often find yourself talking down to you in regards to your abilities and whatnot, this message is for you. Now that I'm thinking about it, this was also something that was requested in regards to imposter syndrome. That shit's dangerous. That shit is debilitating to progress and to like the ability to move forward. And man, it can lead to a plethora of other problems. So let's talk about that. Usually I talk quite a bit before I go into the cards, but I'm gonna constantly try to switch things around until I find the groove that is working best for the point in time that I'm working in. I'll also talk about that as well as I'm flipping the cards. There's reasons. But first card. Oof, 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 ooh. The card for today is going to be the World in reverse. It speaks about imperfection, failure to complete the task when it starts, a lack of vision, disappointment, futile error, and a broken heart. What a card to get when talking about imposter syndrome. And, I mean, if you don't know if that's something you're suffering from, an example of imposter syndrome, you could be working in a field for years. And you'll still have times that you'll doubt your credentials. You'll doubt how competent you are in getting a job done. Your confidence isn't always guaranteed to be there. And you'll always have the concerns of not just you realizing that, you know, because when you realize it, it's like, it's whatever. I'm used to thinking this shit about myself. I'm used to wondering if I'm good enough. Caffeine. The real fear is other people finding that out or verifying that those fears are a reality. That's the terror that imposter syndrome carries. And it becomes debilitating. The card's gone! Everything stays still. Alright, give me a sec. Wait a sec. Hold on. Back. The wind took that card and it ran away with it. My bad. Technical difficulties, they happen. But yeah, like I was just saying, that fear, it can become debilitating. It can become paralyzing. The question that was asked in one of the comments was a question kind of asking, how do you defeat imposter syndrome? How do you... Almost felt like, the question was, how do you cure it? I can't rightly say that there's a cure for it, but there are ways that we can reassure ourselves that our skills are real, that our accomplishments have been earned, and that we're valid. I think the best way to combat imposter syndrome is, in fact, learning how to appreciate ourselves, learning how to appreciate the skill that we do have, and not worrying about putting on a front to convince others that we have more than we believe we have. An example for me personally, I constantly was suffering from imposter syndrome, having to do with tarot readings, and I wouldn't say I've conquered the fear that's with it, But I've made a sort of peace. I've carved out a space in my mind that I can comfortably put this skill. I can measure the skill by. It's the thing I'll let folks know a lot is that, hey, I'm not all seeing, I'm not all knowing. When you come to me to get a reading, you might find that the questions that we give answers to, the questions that we discover answers to together, might not even be the original question that you wanted to ask. I'm not going to be reading your mind. And there definitely will be situations where there's something you want to know. And I'll have to honestly tell you that I don't necessarily have an answer to that. But I'm willing to point you in the right directions where I believe the answers can be found. Just putting myself in that space of letting it be known, hey, I don't have all the answers. I don't know everything. I am not perfect. And this is not a perfect science. It eases the expectations, not of just others, but of myself, to myself. I'm not striving for perfection in the things that I do. I strive to do good. I strive to have a equal satisfaction on both sides. In this case, on both sides of the screen. Usually it'll be both sides of the table, but on both sides of the screen, I look for equivalent exchange. And that the time that I put out has a equal amount of appreciation or effort that is, attached to it. As long as I know that the equivalent exchange is going on, the anxieties of me doing enough or me being enough are quelled. I suppose a part of that in knowing if you're doing enough or knowing if what you're doing is being appreciated is attached to communication. Imposter syndrome does seem to come about if we're not sure if we're actually doing a decent job, if we're doing things that are satisfactory. And a good number of us are very afraid to ask for that critique, to ask, hey, am I doing good? Is there something I could be doing better? Can I get your pointers? Can I get your advice? Can I have your critique? It terrifies us because, there's a chance that we're going to get nothing but bad in return. We're just going to have bad advice, not bad advice, but we're going to have the negative critiques that are given to us. And we fear that with those negative critiques, also the person is going to give us the words of, you have no idea what you're doing. And that's what scares us. That's what keeps us from asking for a performance evaluation. It's fair, because when it comes to us working jobs and whatnot in corporate America, in the business world, the phrase performance evaluation often sends us into anxiety. Ironically, there are a lot of people, when they hear the word performance evaluation, they hear, I got a possibility for a raise coming. But for many of us, we hear those words and we go, oh God, there's a possibility that I'm going to get fired. My higher-ups are going to realize I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing and that I've been faking it all. Oh God. It's really funny how just the change in mindset can cause a scenario to mean a drastically different thing to us. Somebody coming in to inspect our work, it's not just a possibility that they're going to see error. There's an equal possibility that they'll see innovation, that they'll see creativity, that they'll see, oh wow, you're doing shit that I've never seen somebody do before, or you're finding success in ways that I never imagined you'd find success. Please teach me. Yeah, I see things that maybe you can improve, but there's all this shit that you're doing good, and boy, I'd sure like to know how you're doing it. Appreciate you for you, and communicate for that criticism, for those critiques. The moment you have less fear of a critique of just all being bad and start to value it as an opportunity to build and grow your own skill set, the imposter syndrome will also get a lot smaller and occur a lot less often, because you have less of a fear of being a fake, because you understand that you are not perfection. You can strive for it, you can strive towards greatness. You will never achieve perfection, but you can always strive toward it. And understanding that you will never actually achieve that perfection, it helps a ton. But that's going to wrap up the Instagram side of things, and now we're going to move into the extended reading, which you can find on the Patreon. I'll see you over there. And for all of my patrons, card number 2. Hey folks, thanks for tuning into the video today. And here's a special thanks to all of our benevolent Patreons. Can't do it without you. Thank you for your support. Love you all, and talk to you again soon.